Well, uh, so generally I take the razor and literally uh, skin uh, from, like, if I had a side part or a side part there, all the way around. I would make a skin all below that, and then I would start to scoop at an angle with the razor. I would comb my hair one way, and then I would scoop, or anyway, you just cut or slice with the razor or a paper clip or something. Fasten a straight razor or a single edge razor to a comb, and of course you know how to use that. After years of practice, you kind of know how to do those things. But today I took my mom's little buzzy clips, the ones that we used to cut hair for dad or for the little boy, or even sometimes mom wants her hair just kind of short, because mom's not long haired anymore. Mom's kind of short hair a bit, not extreme like I am on, or anyway. So, but I took one of those nice little, and I actually just all the way around, and it looks all right. So, turning my big noggin away, and you can kind of see I can't lift my arm up much on one side because of the rotator cuff injury. It still aggravates it, and I can't move. It hurts to drive, hurts to eat, hurts to even shrug my shoulders. So anyway, but yeah, it looks all right. You can see this little step, and then it goes in, and then goes down to the skin. The hair looks like a little strip there. Kind of looks awful, but I'm gonna let my hair grow out for a little bit. So as part of my trying this new device, I'm also gonna plug in this microphone. I'm gonna plug this microphone in at the 3-minute mark and see if there's any difference in it making noise or picking up my voice or not. So, because I'm gonna start using audio more. Okay, 3 minutes and go. So, I got the microphone position now, and it is um, pointed at me and sitting on top of the machine. Well, I had Gathering of Nations mix, ongoing YouTube video, and off to the side on my mother's device, and it's been playing powwow music all day. So apparently we're at some lull or some rest point in the whole video thing, because it's not. I mean, like maybe 10 minutes ago, there was constant drumming and powwows and dancing and jingles. And it went on for like 20 minutes previous to that. So, but now I guess we're in the middle of some giveaways or something. So, I sit and write sometimes. Uh, I had a paper clip of a paper clip. I had a little, and I'm using this HD Kindle Fire device because because my phone is charging. So I put some recent things on online. A few photographs as public posts, and I remember one of those photographs that I took was my little photo page of scribbles and writings. So for you screenshot people and all that that like to screen grab, 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this is my own handwriting, and these are usually the Cliff Notes versions of a bigger speech or two. And if I really typed out some of these things, and I do, and save them on a device or two somewhere else. So this one says, I am Hunkpapa Lakota. We are. Of us true, we follow no one but our Creator gods. Hunkpapa Lakota live simple. We dwell in the circle. We dwell in sacred shape and nature. We live outdoors. To seem primitive and wild is poor, but adjusting faces and mind daily and to value gold, oils, land, greedy for all is sickness and insanity. We do not seek to dominate. I know I didn't fill out that last sentence, but I just started to now. I put a few seek to dominate, and I'm going to continue. So these few sentences, there's a lot more in between that I will elaborate and enunciate in further publishings and publications online. Okay, 7-minute mark. I'm gonna unplug the microphone and see if this microphone worked or not. If it will just release and let me go. This was out of one of those funky little dollar store multimedia kits that you could buy a little light to go with it, and so there was in a box. It was this little supposed microphone, and it works all right because I tried it on my phone somewhere else. I haven't tried it on this device. And then you have a set of earbuds that go with it, and that's it. There's no little powering device on there. There's no on or off, or no up or down volume at all. You just find some spot to rest the microphone. It's a cute little omnidirectional microphone, and on one of my other phone devices, or other devices that I had used this on previously, it it picked up directional. So you kind of have to point this microphone at whoever's speaking at the time. So, which in this case is me. So, hello, it's me. It's me. Generally, I say, it's not me. So, as if to not shift the blame to me, or even have the basic idea of it of ever fucking happenings. So anyway, but I have printed up. I have handwritten stuff here and there, and so there's a little language book here, and just for copyright issues and all that, and just because other people are disputing these making of consortium language books and publications, and then saying that, and then some people say that these publishers or people are actually milking the rest of us Lakota for money because they sell back our own language. Yes, all of the above is true. We are being suckered. We are being played the fool by some greedy people that have come to us and said they were doing language dictionary projects, and it took a decade or so, but they recorded hundreds of people and went into hundreds of homes and became lifelong friends with whomever, and in the end, a dictionary was made, a set of alphabet and lettering and numerals was made, and then began the dictionary, and many words in Lakota and in English were written, printed, and published. So, so I'm not going to join that argument for or against those people, or for the actual language defenders of our Lakota nation that are calling the greedy people, the greedy consortium language native people out on their greed and self-serving and making money off of the backs of us, because those greedy fat takers, they actually copyrighted the materials and try and sell it back to us, and then they get upset when they see or hear or know of anything online, reading out of a book or something. Ziskopala yache he here ziskopa washte wala krishni, words like that. And so, hey, what in the world? I guess these two little children are talking to each other. Do you like this fruit? No, I like this fruit. So, or this potato, or this pet, or this. So, but I'm only for the language publishers and all those people that wrote any dictionaries, because uh, they wrote a dictionary, or they wrote some materials, a few books and other online stuff you could buy, and it's a tool. It's something written, something that if kept in the public domain somehow, or the domain accessible to public, where you can give some coin, and then in return download the dictionary app, and download the other books, or buy books in hardback paper. That's fine. Uh, those materials will live for 50 years. The books themselves, if taken care of, will be on a shelf and used. Books like that generally last 30 or 40 years, because when I was 8 years old or so, I had my hands on books published in the 1930s and the 1940s. So I learned to read when I was little. And anyway, but I post other experiences I've had since I was little. So anyway, but I am not ignorant to Lakota language. I can meditate right now today, go to the other side and meet some people or speak to some people. They're not far away, literally 10 feet from you, 6 feet from any given person at any given time. Is a relative, is someone good. They're watching you, they're at least aware of you, or they are in your proximity. And they'll go away. It's not a bad thing. They're not ghosts. It's not the movie Love Triangle or so of a few years ago of a ghost, where one person was murdered or killed somehow, but his spirit still hung around. Yeah, it's not like that, but in a way it could be. But still, But if you're a spiritual person and want to get in touch with some of those aspects of life and some of those things about your own culture and maybe others, then, start meditating. I, I don't like using this word, I never did, but New Age stuff, you'll have to kind of sort of learn some things about that. But you're going to have to also meditate and pray and just, you know, go to the source yourself. As you are reading or looking at certain materials of other people, and you don't have to follow other people from their start to a current date of any materials they have. You don't have to read all 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 published works of any guru out there that's a New Ager and enlightened person. No, you don't have to do. But look at some of those things for yourself. Get into some of the transcendental or some of the more relaxing music and meditate to that, or sit and don't think. And you don't have to go out and buy crystals and buy herbs or grow herbs. You don't have to become a pothead and become a hippie and all that. And just be yourself. But I don't fight against these consortium language native uh, uh, people in context, or anybody that's for or against such things, because, like I said, it's a tool, and anyone can learn anyone else's language on the earth. You just have to learn the writing style or the written um, words, the alphabet, from the language alphabet, and then start learning the basics, counting, time of day, hello, how are you, greetings, and so on. And you have to read and write. You actually have to sit pen and blank paper and write whatever it is that you are studying. So you'll get used to the language. You get your hands on the grammar books if you can, or other written materials that have conversations in. And right now, one of the best things that you can do if you are isolated or you're not living in your target country to learn their language, go on YouTube right now, or uh, other sites in your language target host. Uh, YouTube and other sites are really good for this. Watch TV shows. Watch any soap operas. Watch the what do you call it? Science fiction movies. Watch the comedies and stuff. Basically, watch materials in video form in your target language and do it again and again and again and again and again. And see it, say it, digest it, sleep it. When you are sleep dreaming and you are speaking to yourself or to other people in your target language, which is what I do most of the time, um, uh, you know that you are learning, and you know that you are doing something good. So keep on doing that. And if you find some good safe sites for you to go on, off of the Spacebook or the Instaflam or anything else, and then you can get into some chat groups or something, or some other messenger types. Follow along with some of those groups on the various pages. And once again, keep on reading, writing. Remember that for us Lakota, it's subject, object, and verb. That's generally the pattern when we speak to each other. The subject an object and usually the verbs after it, and and a did you get that, or you got that, the tone of what you say about the subject, about the object, and about the verb. Um, uh, you kind of piece it together. English language, which I am still learning. I grew up learning a little bit of English, but when I was a child, I had all of these other things just coming at me, all of these out of body experiences, all of these other voices in my head at the time speaking to me. And so maybe some adults saw me taking a moment or two to think, and I was kind of slow, and they labeled me as special needs for a while. Or they put me into some special school category for a year or so. And, well, that was fine with me. Gave me more time to concentrate on some of the advanced people or even my higher self that was speaking to me, speaking to my little child self at the time, or even my creator was. So I strongly believe those things. You yourself today, you have to look at the people around you. And I'm not talking about the good or bad family dynamics or anything, because most people don't have family. Most people don't have father, mother, husband, siblings, boyfriend or girlfriend, or anything else or around them. But generally speaking, uh, if you look at the world around you and you see people like that in your life, and you somehow know of your grandparents that lived before you, maybe they're dead, or your great grandparents, and most likely they're dead because my great grandparents are dead. Even all of my grandmas and grandpas now are dead. It's only my uncles and my own parents and my siblings, and then the younger cousins and younger nieces and nephews and so on that are alive, and even my own children, just barely alive. Those little turkeys, but anyway. So that's how I look at things around me because that's what I see. But since I was a child, uh, even before that, I had lived several lives here on Earth, going back uh, for the last 250 years. I may have taken a 20-year break then, but then I was back here on Earth. And every 20 years, every 10 years, even at one point, I was here for at least 2 years before I passed on. And I was back in some other race, creed, or culture, nomadic lifestyle, raids from the enemies or so, and they kill everyone or something. So I was rich, I was poor, I was my skin color now, I was red, yellow, black, or white of some kind. I remember thousands of lives, thousands of iterations, thousands of experiences, thousands of times being in a human role or a human life in the past upon this earth. So I remember, but I'm not going to tell you everything. There's really no point to all that. Anyway, oh yeah, so growing up here in my 54 years, uh, five, 4 years that I have lived. So I grew up first knowing the Lakota language and hearing it from my mother and my uncles and my grandma and grandpas and my older relatives. And then there was English, and it was I don't like English. English is a new language. English is like 200 years old on the American continent side, and English is a few hundred years old on the European side. English, England, and similar young culture in the world bullies greedy, dominant people going back few hundred years or less than 1,000 years. And then from there, the European people break off or so from other old uh, civilizations and stuff. But, and I can say this somewhat because in the past I have been in some type of variation of a European culture too. And so I remember. I'm just saying. But I grew up Lakota. For the first 10 years of my life, I listened to Lakota. I hesitatingly, painfully listened to English. But one of my stepdads at the time, white people, married my mother 4 years after I was born, maybe 3 years after I was born. This white man stepdad, he married my mother and fathered my siblings. So I have a younger sister and a younger brother, and my brother is deceased since 1990 from cancer. And my big sister, and she's bigger than me, literally. My sister is, and I are the only siblings from my mother. Uh, but that one stepdad of ours, he moved on in life and made some more children. And I don't claim any of those other children as my stepbrother or half brother or half sister. Those people may look like my first white man stepdad. I've met some of them later on in life, and they were more than happy to be somehow related to me, and I personally am not related to them. My younger sister, who was made by my stepdad, who later on made more kids elsewhere in marriages, he might be related uh, to my sister, and those other half brothers, half sisters might be married, might be related to my sister. But no, I rejected some of those people. Oh, well, yes, he was my stepdad for a while too. Well, you have a good day. Nice to meet you. And then I left. Okay. But no, I understand family. I understand these various shades of gray. No, no. These, you see, the English language is hard to enunciate sometimes. And I don't think English anymore, really. Unless I go online, then I have to, you pick a nick and stick. Reminiscent of the internet days when I first started out, and people went into the chat rooms and stuff. Well, you have to pick a nickname and stick with it. So pick a nick and stick. But I grew up with Lakota. And later on in life, I started to learn survival phrases and survival words of at least a dozen other languages, most of them Euro, because I was familiar with the Euro and the old languages. For those of you in conversation or listening to me talking this long, and if you know how to get into the drives, Google Drive of other people, because I set mine to public. If you know how to look, know where to look, I've got a few languages collections books built up. Please don't disturb them. and some other tattoo stuff and a smattering of photos there. But anyway, Google Drive. I have a whole bunch of language books. Those books, uh, some of them Euro, some of them West Indies, Indonesian, Afrikaner type. I didn't just collect those books or put them on my Google Drive just for shits and giggles. I actually spoke some of those languages previous, and I remember. Uh, Before I was born, 54 years ago, I was some type of Vietnamese girl. And that was a painful experience too, so that's kind of why today I don't even, I don't. Sure, I'll like some of the Asian model Instagram ladies or any other tattooed and half dressed females that are Asian. That's right now. That's as close to some parts of my past that I will get. I have no desire right now to learn Asian languages anymore. I don't want to. Oh, I'll eat some of the foods and stuff, but I'm a man. I like food, but no, uh, no. My little 7, 8 year old self, just a couple of years before I was born, she didn't have to get slaughtered by those communist backed U.S. advisors supervising troops or thugs that were raising some villages along Viet Cong Delta or somewhere else further west, just before the war started or something like that. My little self, 7 or 8 years old, that was uh, dutifully taking care of her siblings and other children. Um, in the little mud hut village, she didn't have to die the way that she died. Um, I still have nightmares of that sometimes. Running away and then getting shot through. I feel it sometimes too. I got shot in the back, and all the children with me, they all flew apart by the bullets, and so did I. Uh, then it was blackness, so then a year or two of rest. Sure, I went back to the other side, but mostly I was in between and I rested because it was some things that just disturbed me about that living and life in general. And then I went back to the other side, and there is no time on the other side, really. After you die at any given time, you can just be in the void. There is no heaven or hell. There's only heaven or hell in your mind, in your spirit, in your heart. One way or the other. You can put yourself on timeout if you know that you've been a bad person or so on. And you don't have to go back to heaven or wherever you came from. You can be in your isolation. You can even impose a pain and punishment and flames and stuff upon yourself. And feel it. But there is no place of heaven and hell. And like I said, in real life right now, I just look around me. My mother and my dad, mom and dad, every day they fight with the kids, you know, or they discipline the kids, or they reward the kids, and so on, or the grandkids and whatever. But mom and dad don't demand that we all love them. Mom and dad don't demand that we worship them. Mom and dad don't demand that I myself take one of the kids and put the child on the table and then slit them open and take the heart and sacrifice that child to mom and dad. No, mom and dad's not like that. Any of my grandparents or other relatives are not like that. Um, that's just criteria that I see in my own life. There is no one in my life that's a parent or grandparent that is demanding of me to worship them or die. And in my own Lakota culture, we don't do that. We never have. Those things do not exist in my culture, and they never have existed. And the concepts of Jesus Christ or the concepts of a God, Yahweh, or anyone else, a bearded white man with a white robe and blue eyes, and he's God Almighty, and His Son Jesus Christ, and so you have to bow down and worship them, and so on. Those concepts have never ever existed in Indigenous life. Even when I was a little Vietnamese girl, a few years before I was currently born, there was no such concepts in our culture or language then. Um, anyway, so I'm gonna look at this recording, post it up to HoobTube. But I'm actually, like I said, I just tested this microphone of mine, and I have a cat and dog running around, and they're kind of bored being locked up inside. I go outside with my pets when I can, and today it's cold, so I didn't go outside with my pets. But my little puppy is bored, so he's chasing after the cats now and then. So such is the pandemic and these illnesses that plagued the country, and all the fake stuff going on, and all the drama going on, and the coercion. It's not new. It happened 100 years ago in 1918, 1900s, and so on. It happened 100 years before that in the 1800s or so. 1750s, 1760s. You have to study history or the current history that we have been taught, and those of us that are old enough to remember will remember. 16th, 100s, 1500s, you know what the rats or other rodent infestations brought aboard from the ships to shores regarding other illnesses, plagues, and Red Death or whatever. And of course, some of those illnesses were started other ways. Nuremberg, it's in Northern Europe, and I was there too. I wasn't there during this time when the Black Spear ships came overhead. When they came out of the sun, two red arcs arced out of the sun, and then above or below, two red arcs, like if you opened up your eye or something, and an arc above and an arc below, or an opening, something opened up, and those ships appeared, and they drew closer to Earth, and began expelling, began offloading what we would call today as cigar-shaped or cylindrical tube spaceships, and these were huge, bigger than the moon, wider than the moon, as they got up close to the Earth, but they were still out there in space. They were fucking huge, and those black ships and other Black Spear ships that brought them from the sun or from elsewhere too. Anyway, those little tubes offloaded all hundreds, thousands of red, white, and different colored, and even black spheres of some kind, or little prickly looking spheres. And those spheres began fighting each other, got into different groups and started fighting with each other. And some of those little orbs fell to earth and got a lot of people sick from the burning of materials that those orbs or any smaller little craft elongated uh, when they burned or when they otherwise reacted to atmosphere and they were damaged and they started smoking and burning. And curious people on the ground got too close and immediately were overcome by respiratory distress and vomiting up blood and lungs and everything else, and dying within seconds or minutes. Even the native peoples, Old West era, from time to time would also look up. And a few times in the Old West, natives saw similar things. Huge black ships, huge spears, huge elongated spear tips, pointed at one end and kind of knocked on one end. They look like black obsidian arrow tips, black spear tips. The old cultures long ago would chip the obsidian into gorgeous 18-inch long to 2 feet long uh, double-bladed tool, double-bladed weapon. That's what some of those ships that appeared throughout the ages look like. And there are some European woodcut and other artworks that survive the ages. And my light went out, so I guess I have to charge this one. So anyway, getting up on 42 minute mark. I need to shut my yapper and I need to shut my yapper and yeah. All right, so and the native music in the background is the YouTube mix of the Nations of Gathering or something like that. So, all right.